Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Blue Jay Way podcast. Once again, I am Jack Ryan, joined by Chris May. Thank you guys for tuning in. Now, Chris, buddy, pretty wild last 24, 48 hours for us Jays fans and for the team in general. Brandon Belt is now. I'm just going right and cutting right to the chase here. Brandon Belt is now a member of the Toronto Blue Jays. 34-year-old lefty, two-time World Series champion with the San Francisco Giants in his career. Now a Blue Jay and probably looking like he's going to be the main DH for this team going forward.
Yeah. I mean, he's a veteran guy. He was the captain of the San Francisco Giants there, so I think that's a good sign. It kind of goes to what we were talking about last time about the culture really changing on the team. Getting some new leadership in. I think it's he could be productive. Obviously, he didn't have a great year last year. He's somewhat injury prone, but I don't think he'll be playing too much. So I think he adds a kind of a different element, another lefty bat. I don't mind it. I don't mind it for 1 year. I don't think really there's any risk involved. So I'm a fan of it. Yeah,
it's the same deal with the Kiermaier acquisition. It's a low risk, high reward. Not a lot of money thrown at them. It's 18.4 or 18.3 million between two guys. That's less than one guy in George Springer. So, I'd rather have less money for two injury prone guys than one injury prone guy. I don't know. We'll just see what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I like it. They're complementing kind of the team they have with guys who can, give pitchers a different look in the lineup, especially, and, give Vladdy some rest. I think that's an important part of it too, is that Vladdy has played so much over the past 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And, he's a big boy. You don't want the body breaking down too early in his career. You want to keep him fresh because, man, Vladdy at first base, he's super even running the bases, man. This guy is super athletic. So you want to keep that kind of level of athleticism there throughout the whole season and get him off his feet when he can. So yeah, I think there's plenty of positives with the signing, and you just got to hope that Belt stays healthy and he mashes righties and can hit a lot of home runs at the Rogers Center, which I think there's a good possibility could happen.
Well, let's look at it this way. Before he got injured in 2021, when he was healthy, he hit 29 home runs in less than 400 at bats in Oracle Park, which
that season when in 2021 when the Giants were unreal and all their veterans were just magically back to where they
turned the clock back 5 years.
Yeah, man, he was a really, really good hitter, man. He's a fun hitter to watch too. He's got it almost seems like he's swinging like a wiffle ball bat.
I know.
He can whip that bat so fast and he can get to a lot of different kinds of pitches. So I'm excited to see if he can return to that form. Maybe we shouldn't get our hopes up too much, but he's an interesting player for sure.
Yeah, and dude, big Texas boy. That's all it is. But he's got a lot of power still. I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. I think people are starting to write him off because of his knee injury, which he stated on Sportsnet the other day that he was saying that, look, this is the best I've felt in the last 2 or 3 years. So if that's the case, then I'm expecting, if he stays healthy and can play, 135, 145, 150 games, I can definitely see him hitting 30 plus homers and driving in around 80 to 90 ribbies.
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal. And don't we have to thank a restaurant in Toronto too for the
the Ritz-Carlton Chicky Tendies, buddy.
Yeah, that he absolutely loved. That's a really funny story. You can have those whenever he wants.
I know, dude. They'll give him a suite for the whole year. That's where he's going to stay with his family. It's just going to be a suite at the Ritz-Carlton just for the chicken tender.
He doesn't even get an apartment. He just gets a hotel room for the year.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that story a lot, and I think I've heard a lot of players say they like coming to Toronto in the summer. I mean, I get it, but the chicken tenders, I wasn't expecting that. That's really funny.
I mean, dude,
man, that's good.
Yeah, he wants to be here, which is nice. Yeah. So, I mean, and look, I can definitely see him getting his reps at DH and him and Vladdy splitting time. My only question regarding the DH spot now is because we saw a lot of Jansen and Kirk in that role last year, and Jansen, even though he was injured, he came back and he started producing, whether he was behind the dish or not, even at the DH spot. So I guess we're going to have to play it by ear because we know Alek Manoah and Alejandro Kirk, they're like this. Kirk is the only guy that's going to be catching Alek Manoah. So what are your thoughts? Do you think it'll be a 50-50? Do you think they'll just play the hot hand behind the plate? Like say Jansen's struggling, they'll let Kirk go for 4 to 5 days?
Yeah, like it depends on how many days they want to play Bell. Like I'm thinking like half of the games he'll probably be involved in
Yeah.
either as like a pinch hitter or DH.
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
another thing for Bell too is late game pinch hitting against righties. Uh, if he's not in the starting lineup, I think that's going to be something they try and do a lot.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I think you could look at maybe like a 30% Bell DHing,
Mhm.
30% a catcher DHing, and then like 33% somebody else DHing. You
Yeah.
know, if they're rotating guys in like Whit Merrifield, Santiago Espinal, Kevin Biggio, they still have a
Yeah.
lot of guys on the bench that maybe they like a matchup a certain day. But I
Hmm.
think Bell is going to be involved in about probably half the games.
I agree.
Maybe
I'm inclined
start
to
about
agree.
half the games. You don't want to put too much on him because obviously the injury really hurt his production last year. So you don't want
Hmm.
to repeat that. You want him fresh. You want him facing righties as much as you can. And
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, maybe half the games for Belt, and then you can work in catchers and other guys.
Yeah. Well, even the good news about Belt too is that he's able to play. He can patrol left and right field as well as a secondary position. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
he's not going to win any Gold
yeah.
Gloves. He's not going to win any Gold
Yeah.
Gloves.
It's
But
probably not ideal.
if Springer needs a day off, or if
Yeah.
Varsho needs a day off, Brandon Belt is an option to put out in left or right field, and they
Yeah.
still have Biggio and
Yeah.
Merrifield on the bench for the same purpose, right?
Or you put, Biggio out and left or
Yeah.
out in the corner outfield. And then,
Well,
yeah, like you're not getting a great defensive replacement
no,
no matter what you do
but
if Springer's not playing.
you just need
But
a guy. You need a guy who can
but
do it.
we're gonna get to some outfielders,
Mm-hmm.
some outfielder
Yes, we
talk
are.
in a
Yes,
little
we
bit.
are. Yes, we are. Yeah, man. Like I'm to wrap this thing up in a nice, pretty bow. I'm very happy and excited to
Yeah,
see what Brandon Belt brings. He's a veteran guy. He's won 2 World Series titles with the Giants. You know, like the Jays realistically now have how many guys now have been to the World Series and either won or at least have the experience. Like Kiermaier lost in 2020 with the Rays against the Dodgers.
yeah,
Springer's won a World Series MVP with
yeah,
the Astros. But again, it's the asterisks year. Don't get on me. It's just stating facts here.
yeah.
Brandon Belt's won 2. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else who's been to a World Series.
Hasn't Witt been? Did Witt go? Or
No,
no?
he was the year after they
Yeah,
beat after the Jays lost
after
in
after
2015.
2015, he's
Yeah, he
2016,
came in 2016 because he played all 4 years of college ball.
and they went before against the Giants, right? In 2014 or 13?
14, 14.
Okay.
14 against the Giants. The Kansas City Royals went and lost. And then the year after they beat the Jays in the ALCS and then they
Yeah.
beat the Mets in the World Series.
Yeah.
And then Merrifield came in.
Okay.
So, but
Witt,
still,
Smith.
that's how many guys have been to a World Series. That's 3 guys who are at least 3 batters.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any pitchers that have been there.
Yeah, we could be missing some guys.
Chris
We
Bassett,
could maybe be
no.
missing one.
I'm trying to think, man. I don't know. Gosman, no. Manoa, no. Kikuchi, definitely not.
They could be adding a guy that we
They could be adding a guy.
to.
Well, that's what Shai Davidi was saying. He's they asked him on Tim and Friends. Tim basically said to him like, "Hey, are the Jays done adding any outfield depth or pitching help?" And he goes, "Nah."
No, I don't think so either. Like there are some holes that need to be filled still before you have a complete team, but the team they have now without those holes even filled is really, really, really good.
Well,
they just kind of need to complement stuff.
Yeah, let's get into this though, because I saw this tweet and it was interesting, and they showed what the Jays have added and what the Jays have subtracted. Right, so we've lost Teoscar Hernandez, Lourdes Gurriel, Gabby Moreno, Bradley Zimmer. Oh, boohoo! Who else?
Player.
Who else did we lose? Trying to think. Who else did we lose?
Merriweather.
Merriweather.
Yeah, Merriweather.
The guy made a glass, Julian Merriweather. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not.
But then you look at who you've added. You've added Stripling. My boy. I love Ross. I love Ross chicken strips, chicken tendies. But Brandon
traded Belt for Stripling 1-for-1.
Oh, straight up. Yeah, he went to the Giants. That's right.
Kinda.
Yeah. Okay. So then, but think about it like this, right? Dalton Varsho in WAR makes up for Lourdes and Teoscar. Those guys are gone for one guy. You got added.
The outfield still. We can't stress this enough. There's
still needs help.
Something else is coming.
Something else is coming, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But they've added Chris Bassett, who's a legit innings eater, who has like 8 or 9.
He's like everyone's kind of forgotten about that now.
Yeah. He's like Darvish, man. He's got like 7 or 8 pitches he can throw if he absolutely has
to. He's a crafty vet. He's reliable too. So I was talking to our friend Ev about this too. Like we need Barrios is a guy for me that's like gonna make or break this team.
Yes, and he's doing the work. He's already down in Dunedin at the training facility, and he's putting in work. Yeah, and he looks like he's actually put on some muscle from what I saw on his Instagram. He looks like.
But if you have 4 starters with an ERA like under 4,
that's why
you could end up winning 100 games.
I'm still saying that everyone's sleeping on the Jays. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Yankees added Carlos Rodon." I'm like, "Yeah, all it takes is Kermit the Frog, Garrett Cole to get hit on the shin, and then that whole rotation falls apart."
And the Jays lineup, is right-handed.
Yeah, and by the way, MLB came out today and ranked them 3rd in the majors for deepest lineup. Who was first? It was the Padres, then it was someone else, and then it was the Jays. So I'd argue the Jays and the Padres have equally as deadly a lineup.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who that other team was as well.
We'll figure it out later. We'll post it on.
It'll come to us. But yeah, we can't stress enough that the lineup might look a bit different. We're not going to say the guys because we're going to talk about it a bit later, but there could be some more guys that could help out too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the other deal that the Jays brought to our attention and to everyone else's attention was the acquisition of starting pitcher Zach Thompson from the Pittsburgh Pirates, who kind of flew under the radar, last year, which again, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates. No one really.
I didn't know a single thing about this guy.
Yeah, the only reason I knew about him is because I do a lot of franchise mode and MLB The Show 22. So, let's see. 29 years old, had a 5.18 ERA last season. Again, the Pirates were among the worst teams in baseball last year. So I'm kind of taking that with a pinch of salt. He has a lot of starting rotation depth and pitching in general in case of injuries, So my question for you, Chris, is do you think that he's getting that 5th spot in the rotation over Yusei Kikuchi? Or do you think Atkins and Sapiro are going to keep Kikuchi in there?
I think the fact that Kikuchi's a lefty.
Yeah. He's our only lefty.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't count Ryu, but Ryu's still injured.
I think Ryu will be back.
Oh, he could be back. They're saying as early as beginning of June.
So I think Ryu will be back, and he probably will be given a chance in that 5th spot. But I think the fact that Kikuchi is a lefty means they're going to start with him in rotation in the 5th spot, barring like a trade or another small signing that they see. I think spring training is going to be important for this, especially.
Yes.
I think they're going to say like, okay, Kikuchi, you got to prove to us in spring training and in the workouts and everything that we're doing that you can hit the damn zone.
For one.
I think that's basically it.
Without sacrificing too much on your fastball.
I hope he's working now. I'm sure he probably is because he didn't like the way that last season went down. But I hope that, he's working hard on his delivery and finding the zone and being effective with his fastball. And if he proves that in spring training, I don't think they'll have any problem putting him in there. But Zach Thompson, he's got the same kind of opportunity. He's got to show what he's got. I think spring training's big. And then whoever they like the most after that will start in the 5th spot. But I think Kikuchi's kind of leading the race because he's a lefty.
I agree. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Plus, they're paying him a multi-year contract. Thompson's on a minor league deal with $700K.
Yeah, they want to make themselves look somewhat decent about that contract because it's hard to defend.
Yeah. That was another criticism with the Springer contract. They're trying to. Everyone's saying like, oh well, they screwed up giving him so many years, and now you have to move.
I'm not mad at Springer.
No, hell no. The guy
at all because of what.
Yeah, the guy was injured for 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, and he still had 20+ homers. I'm not mad about that at all. Give him a healthy year, he's going to hit 35.
That's a big thing too. He's kind of the leader of everything in the clubhouse.
Exactly.
But yeah, Kikuchi. I would go as far as to say that contract is inexcusable.
At least it's front loaded, so they're paying him less money next year and the following year after that.
Good thing it was front loaded. He had a great year.
Yeah, 5.52 ERA. That's fine.
To watch. I can't do pitchers who don't throw strikes. That's like of anything in baseball. Like even over like Teoscar like lollygagging in the outfield, I can't handle pitchers who don't throw strikes. It's my biggest pet peeve.
Especially when you throw 97 miles an hour. Yeah. You're like in the top 10% of lefties that throw that fast.
Yeah, just ruin your potential by not being able to throw strikes. I don't know if it was like a pressure thing because he signed the contract. I don't know. It seemed like a mental thing.
Well, here's my gripe is that didn't Pete Walker, the pitching coach, get him to drop? Was it his cutter or his slider that he got? His cutter.
Slider.
His cutter. I think he got him to drop. Because then he started throwing the slide, and he loved his cutter. It was this pitch that he brought over with.
They tried to Robbie Ray him.
Yeah, but
fastballs and sliders down and in.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't really listen.
No. Also, his delivery doesn't allow for that. He's more over the top than Robbie Ray is more of a 3/4 arm. So he's able to get that leverage on the slider for it to break down and into righties. Kikuchi's is more. Combo. Oh my God, it was the bet. He won the Cy Young, so clearly they figured it out.
It was like, all right, 2 pitches. All right.
But I don't know about you, but I was scrolling through Twitter last night and I came across a compilation of Zach Thompson cutters.
Who's cutting those together?
I have no idea. But I'm glad whoever it was did it because his cutter against lefties was deadly last year.
Okay.
He's got about 8 to 10 inches of break and it only comes in around 90, 91. But against lefties, I saw like Freddie Freeman
coming in on their hands.
Oh, yeah. But you know how Freddie Freeman is very over the top, right? With his stance. He was able to pull his hands in and actually get the ball but it was like a cue shot, just barely scrape past the infield. But if he can throw that effectively as a long man out of the bullpen, if Kikuchi's getting that starting job, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I don't mind him as a long man.
No. I think that's exactly what they're going to have. Say spring training already happened and this team's set up. I think that's exactly where they're going to end up putting him.
Nice. Well, I think that's a good place to end the discussion around Zach Thompson, a guy that we'll have to see because I feel like none of us really know much about him, but it's always interesting in spring training to see and get the reports about certain things that are going on or how the organization's feeling about somebody or how someone's doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So now should we get to this thing that we've been teasing?
Yes.
The whole episode.
This is what I've wanted to talk about the whole time anyway. I mean, we just covered the Brandon Bell, the Zach Thompson stuff, but this has to be the piece de resistance, the icing on the cake, the creme de la, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care. Yeah. What the hell are they going to do about a 4th outfield option? Now, we know we got Whit Merrifield, Kevin Biggio. I mean, a true guy who is a veteran who has played the outfield the whole career, but they need someone who can match.
Basically, so that Kiermaier isn't starting every day. He's a lefty. He matches up against righties, but I feel like you can flip it now and go with a righty, matches up against lefties, and can make it so that Kiermaier is not just out in center by himself. Because I feel like
if the Jays play the Yankees, Kiermaier will in every series. If Rodon pitches every series, Kiermaier will be on the bench for one of those games.
Yeah,
he's not gonna start. He'll be coming in as a defensive replacement.
It makes so much sense. You got Kiermaier against righties. You get this other person. We're going to go through some options against lefties.
Yeah.
And it's a nice platoon. It's a great platoon.
You know who I wished, right off the bat, I wish the Jays had gone out and offered JD Martinez a contract. I know he would sign a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Dodgers. He would have been perfect. Because you could have moved Varsho or Springer to center for that game, put JD or even DH him, and then just have him against a lefty. But
that's a good call. But there are some vets that we're going to go through who mash lefties, and there's pretty intriguing names. They could be good in a platoon. They're not all stars. They're not going to be out there every day no matter what's going on. They're going to be there to hit lefties, and most good teams in the league have guys like this.
Yeah,
specialty kind of guys.
Yep. First one, who I think would look absolutely like a dime piece.
I think this is the best one
in the Jays uniform for me is Andrew McCutchen.
I think that's the best option.
I mean, realistically, like people are worried about the playing time is going to dictate whether he signs with this team or not. But if he
should also be
exactly what other team? I mean, he could make a return to the Yankees, which we saw him there in 2018. But
so weird
with it.
So weird when he was there.
He looks good with the facial hair. He's got the swag going.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, hey man, they were looking to bolster their team, but it's fine. But let's go back and look at Andrew McCutchen's numbers versus left-handed pitching last season. In 145 at bats, he drove in 19 ribbies. He had 7 home runs, 17 extra base hits with 10 doubles, and he had a 738 OPS, which I mean is just better than Kiermaier.
I'm not a big fan of Kiermaier's bat.
I know. Hey, man, we'll see what happens. He could turn it. Who knows? With some help, he could. Like
his defense is elite, and I love it.
It's the only reason he's started.
Always there.
Yeah, his base running and his defense is why he's had a career that's spanned over the last decade.
To me, it's a hole in the lineup.
Yeah,
unless it's against righties.
Yeah, even then.
If you have a lefty, or if you don't have a guy off the bench, which you could have Espinal, I guess, or Witt, depending on who's playing, which is okay. But if you
It's
get a
tough.
guy, if we get one of these guys and you start him instead of
Mhm.
Kiermaier, you got 4 at bats against the lefty, or 3 or 2. It's better than a guy pinch hitting for 1.
My only issue is McCutcheon's defense good enough to play center field, or do you have to stick him in left and throw
Well, you could
Varsho in
just
center?
slow Varsho too,
Yeah, throw
or
Varsho
even
in
Witt.
center. Even Witt, yeah. So
Because if you're thinking lefties, maybe
mhm.
Varsho is off the bench as well.
That's true too, because
So
he's
you could
not a
have
very
Witt,
strong.
Kutch, or Varsho Kiermaier. But Varsho is going to play most days.
Oh, he'll be
Those
starting.
are combinations you could kind of go with depending
Yeah,
on.
and he's not nearly as bad against lefties as Kiermaier is.
Yeah,
Varsho's as good against lefties as Kiermaier is against righties. So let's just put it that way.
That's why I'm just not. I don't want Kiermaier to just be the center fielder.
Yeah, I
I
know.
want platoon. I want 2 guys.
They're very focused on defense and base running before offense this year, which again, this team needs balance. You know, they're not, they learned this in 2015 and 2016. You're not going to slug your way to a World Series. You got to have guys who can steal bases, guys who can, draw walks. And that's and people who can play outstanding defense. And now the Jays are way more balanced that way.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I'd love to see Andrew McCutchen in a Blue Jays uniform. The Pirates are, believe it or not, my top 3 MLB teams as far as, just because I'm a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. So I have a special place in my heart for the city of Pittsburgh, and watching McCutchen back when he won the MVP in 2013, guy was the best player in baseball.
Cut the dreads too, man. It was such a good look.
There was power, man. I swear. As soon as you cut the dreads, it was all downhill after that.
I know. He looked incredible with those in Pittsburgh, man. He was such a fun player. I can't believe he won an MVP like not that long ago.
I know, 10 or just under, no, 10 years ago, 2013. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's kind of crazy. It doesn't feel like that long now that I think of it, but he was such an elite player, and he still has a role on this team if he wants to come and sign for a year or 2. Even a 2-year deal, I'd be okay with for him.
Yeah, 2-year at like $6.5-7 million. Give him a 2-year, $14 million.
And another guy who can, you give a lot of wisdom to the young players, another leader, which is another thing that the Jays, I think,
feel like him and Bo would connect a lot because they're both from Florida and they both have that no nonsense attitude kind of vibe about them.
Definitely do. All right, Jack, do you want to go over the next guy we had here, and then I'll throw in an audible at the end.
Little dark horse pick for you.
Yeah.
All right, the next guy is 33-year-old Robbie Grossman, who is a switch hitter. So this is where I'd love to see Andrew McCutchen just for a nostalgia standpoint, but objectively speaking, Robbie Grossman to me is a much better choice just because he is a switch hitter, so he can do it on both sides. But against lefties last year in 122 at bats, he had 13 extra base hits, 12 of them were doubles, slashed with a 320 batting average, 18 runs driven in, and an 879 OPS against lefties. 879 OPS.
Very, very good numbers.
A lot higher than McCutchen's.
Yeah.
And he's 3 years younger.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I would take Grossman over McCutchen. 1, he's younger. 2, he's a switch hitter. That's it. There's no guarantee that he's going to have a higher OPS against lefties, but the point is that he's got 2 more intangibles that make him more admirable and more desirable to bring to this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that too. I think he's perfect for the situations that the Blue Jays are going to want to put him in. And I think he's got a lot of untapped potential as well. I've seen him hit some mammoth home runs. I've seen him use a little speed around the bases, a little bit, nothing crazy, but he
still about 7 or 8 bags a year.
Yeah, he can run. And him and McCutchen, I like McCutchen a bit more. Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe just
the swag.
The swag. A bit more maybe athletic in the outfield, a tiny bit more. But I think both of those guys are guys that the Blue Jays should really be after right now because it just makes so much sense. The guy who hits lefties, and then you have a guy who hits righties. It makes a ton of sense.
Golf clap.
And the guy I was going to throw out is Adam Duvall.
Oh, I forgot he was on free agent list.
Yeah,
That's
he's the
right.
guy who played a lot of center field last year.
Another guy who won a World Series.
Yeah,
The Atlanta Braves. Yep.
yeah, and I
Hmm.
I really like it. I mean, I'm trying to find his stats against righties right now, having a bit of a tough time,
Against
but
righties or lefties?
against lefties, sorry.
Against lefties. Let's see if I can help you out there. Yeah, because he's very
I mean, he's a big righty.
he is a big righty,
He's got a ton of power, and
but he's got a ton of
he's
power,
from
and
center field.
his fielding is amazing.
Yeah,
His fielding is amazing, and he's out with injury right now because of his wrist. He's 34. His estimated return time is February 1st. So
it was like a month or like less than that's like soon.
yeah, it's very very soon.
Yeah,
So if you look at him versus lefties, this is over the last 2 years because he wasn't really available. Way better. He had an 844 OPS with 6 home runs, 12 RBIs, and 12 extra base hits. So Adam Duvall, yeah, he's going to be like, he would be a great addition as well. Another guy who's been on a championship team. So
yeah, I heard that the other day. I saw that somewhere, and I was like, that makes the Jays so much better.
Yeah, him even as a bench guy.
Yeah,
that would be unbelievable. Just because he can come in for Springer off the bench in the later innings if Springer needs to get off his feet, or if he needs an off day DHing or whatever. This team is primed and set for so many options. Like my manager brain is just like on fire trying to think of all the lineup combinations that you can go with.
Yeah, I know.
Like
and just keep doing it. Just keep adding it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep adding more options. Keep bringing more guys into the fold.
Sorry, my dog's losing her mind right now. I think my sister just got home.
Oh, good, no.
So yeah, I mean, dude, if you look at all the options the Jays have, if they keep adding, again, you go through the rest of the season, say by the All-Star break, they're like, hey, this guy's numbers aren't great. This guy isn't meshing with whoever. And then from there, you can just be like, okay, here's a trade piece. We're going to give you, say they sign Duvall. Okay, Duvall's not doing great. Give him Adam Duvall. So Adam Simburn, this guy for a bullpen arm that they desperately are looking at. At least that way you have pieces that you can move, right? Instead of having to give up prospects, you can give up guys who are going to make it help a team get better.
Yeah. And you don't have to risk like long-term deals for any of these guys. These are guys that you can sign to 1 year, 2 year deals, maybe 7 to 10 million, 7 to 15 million, depending on what guy you want. And you don't have to risk. You don't have to risk really anything. And it does improve the outlook of the team and the flexibility and just everything. It just makes so much sense to get one of these righty bats.
It really does.
Free agent market for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might have swung me here with Adam Duvall. I think he might be actually the best option for the Jays. His fielding holds up. The guy was a Gold Glove. I think he won a Gold Glove in 2021 with the Braves. No.
Yeah, I was stunned too because at the plate he doesn't really strike me as a center fielder. Like he seems more like a corner outfielder. The way he hits and just the power he's got, low average, like ton of power. Yeah. But he's very athletic in the outfield. So
he is. I want to go. Hey, I'm going to go look at this. Yeah, he won a Gold Glove. Doesn't say what year he won a Gold Glove, but he won a Gold Glove.
Still won a Gold Glove. I don't know if he was playing center.
I think he was in right.
Yeah, which flexibility is never a bad thing.
No, he also can play a little bit of first base too. He can play every position in the outfield plus first. So nothing wrong with versatility. You love
very
to see
intriguing name. Hopefully he's not going to get hurt because he's hurt right now.
Well, let's see.
Always a risk though, but again, the contract doesn't have to be anything crazy.
I don't imagine any teams really have given him a significant look yet because he's still recovering, right? His return date's not till February. So
in theory, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And then also next episode, I want to talk about the WBC because that's going to be in February, I believe.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So
that's a great event.
Oh, dude, it's amazing.
I'm really excited for that too.
I know it's not going to happen, but I really hope Vladdy decides. Although I think Freddie Freeman's going to play first for Canada just because of his parents.
Oh my God! Imagine that Dominican team.
Well, like think about it. It's going to be Machado.
It's irresistible.
Machado at third, Vladdy. Who's going to be at shortstop? Is Tatis eligible to play?
I think his suspension's over.
This is no for baseball activities, yeah, but not for MLB.
Yeah.
Maybe he's allowed for because the WBC is a separate entity, though. I think he'll still be eligible to play.
Yeah.
So fucking imagine. Can you imagine that infield? You got Machado at third.
Yeah.
Tatis at short. Vladdy at first. I'm trying to think who would be a catcher. Is there a Dominican catcher anywhere in the league right
I'm
now?
sure there is.
That's probably someone we can't think of. Oh, they're going to get Gary Sanchez, El Kraken.
Gary Sanchez.
The Kraken, buddy.
Gary has some impressive home runs. He's just a bit of a, I don't know.
Muppet behind the plate.
Yeah, he's just, the defense really takes away from Gary, but he can hit some monster shots.
Dude, he's ridiculous. He has so much power. It's ridiculous. But then, that Dominican team's going to be nuts. It's going to be scary. Yeah. Sandy Alcantara is your ace.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Best pitcher in the league, in my opinion.
Over to Grom?
Yeah.
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 The workload. Just because of the workload. DeGrom is very, very, very risky right now.
Yeah. 6 complete games last year for Sandy. Yeah. 6. That's unheard of.
I think the rest of the league didn't have 6 combined.
No, I think you might be right. I don't think there's a single team or anyone who had complete games like he did.
There's barely any complete games anymore.
No, and he's an
anomaly, man. He is a horse.
Here's another thing for the Jays too. I saw this. The Marlins are exploring options for 4 out of their 5 starters. Sandy Alcantara is the only one that's off the table.
Yeah,
Pablo Lopez, Jesus Luzardo, all these guys are available. Go Luzardo. Get him. Pay him. Dude, I love him. He's 24 and he throws 100.
Dude.
He's a lefty.
He's like what everyone wants Kikuchi to be. He's like Kikuchi's like max potential.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
All right.
Pablo Lopez might go to the Twins, eh? Do you see that?
No, they're in talks. I don't know if he's actually going yet for Luis Ariz. That was the trade that they were looking at. Why?
God, Minnesota.
Because Luis Ariz can play everywhere, and he's like a career 310 hitter.
He's an incredible hitter.
Yeah, but they don't need an incredible hitter.
That lineup would be so underwhelming without him in it. Even though Correa is back.
Buxton, Correa.
Yeah, but that's really it.
Do you think they re-sign Max Kepler if Kepler doesn't go anywhere else?
Kepler's good.
He is. Well, he just had a really bad couple of years. Remember in 2021, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, no,
he had 30 home runs.
Yeah, he was bad the 2 years before.
Yes.
But yeah, I think they'd try. I think they'd bring Max Kepler back because he's a lefty, and Correa and Buxton are righties. And then, Arias is so good for the top of that lineup. I don't know why they.
I know, but they need pitching because they traded for Chris Paddock last year, but now Paddock's out to.
Yeah, and they traded for Maley too.
They did, so he's there. But now they got Joe Ryan, they got Tyler Mahle. They don't have
an ace.
They don't have an ace. They lost Sonny Gray's gone. I think.
Is he?
He was there. I think he was. Yeah, I think he's still a free agent. Let me look it up. Actually, we got just over.
Signed by now. He's a free agent.
Sonny Gray, where are you? Sonny Gray.
Sonny.
Oh no, he's on the Twins still. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's got a year or something left on his deal.
So yeah, they're a team that doesn't have an ace, but they have all consistent starters.
What about Maeda? He was hurt.
Kenta Maeda, that guy was so good in 2021 or 2019.
He was hurt all last year.
Yeah,
he could be coming back with Lopez and Maley.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Ariz is a top hitter in the league. He's the perfect two-hole hitter.
Well, didn't he win? I
guess Buxton would be up. He's the perfect two-hole hitter on that team.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he win the batting title this year?
So
he had the highest average, right? Like three
I think he did in Yale and Jeff McNeil did in the NL.
Yeah, that's right. Jeff McNeil won in the NL. I'm pretty sure Luis Ariz won in the AL. Let's see.
Yeah, I think he had a 310 to 320 average last year.
Luis Ariz. Yep. He won it last year with hey man,
you don't trade that away. You don't trade that.
No, I wouldn't.
You trade prospects. Trade all the prospects in the world for Lopez.
He's 20.
Trade Austin Martin
again. Simeon Woods Richardson, send him the other way. Yeah. Oh man, the Jays definitely won that trade for sure. even though Barrios had an off year last year, they like Austin Martin will never at this point. I don't think he's going to be cracking.
I hope he's good.
So do I. But their main concern was he didn't have any power. So
he's versatile. I think same kind of thing with Moreno. They're very versatile, young, athletic players, but the power was not developing. And
no. All right, Chris, we're
later on.
We're running out of time here, brother. So I think we should just wrap it up here. All right. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in again to the 3rd episode of the Blue Jay Way podcast. For Chris May, I've been Jack Ryan. Take it easy, everybody.